All right. Well, we have made it 6 years. We're 6 years old today.
6 seasons, not years.
Six. Okay. Yeah. 6 seasons. All right. Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. I can't do math.
See, there's that stage marriage we have going again. Little bickering right out of the gate.
That's how we start the new year.
Can you believe it? Right out of the chute. Just.
I'd like you to look at the camera for that one. So,
But
but
they're with me.
they're
always
how do
side
you know
with me.
that they're with
They
you?
always side with me.
Well, that is up for debate. But we are kicking off season 6 right now.
Welcome to Neighbors Don't Knock, the show that brings you hilarious, unapologetic conversations only these neighbors can have. Join them and guests in their weekly mission to expand the neighborhood. Now, here's your hosts, Brian Chambers and Philip Goffrey.
Well, welcome all you loyal neighbors out there. We are back. Hello. Hey, that's right. We're excited for season 6. We have an incredible neighbor stopping by. I feel like she's part of the show already. This will be her 3rd time. The only neighbor that we've had to come by 3 times before.
That's pretty rocking. I'm
And
super
she
jazzed.
knows she has an open invitation. We'll get to her in just a second. But we have some great things lined up for this season.
We do. So please, I'm going to get out of the gate right now. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe to the show. We've got an incredible slate of guests lined up for season 6. We're taking a local spin this season, which is really fun. We're going to focus on all things Houston.
That's right. So right now, take time, that little button that says subscribe. Go ahead, click on it right now. I'll wait.
Clickety, clickety.
Again, I'm waiting.
Clickety,
Okay,
clickety.
sorry. Thank you. But also, like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We'd love to connect with you guys. Also, you can leave a free audio message. Your neighborly advice could end up on the show by going to podinbox.com/neighborsdon'tknock. Okay. Now, let's
Now we
get to
got
our
that
neighbor.
out of the way.
Let's get to our neighbor. I'm so excited. But first, we must set the mood. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the keeper of our hearts, the countess of the microphone, the neighbor that inspires us all, the incredible Christina Wells. Hello.
Hello, that was amazing. That's how I need to be introduced every single time.
That was pretty good. Yeah, I'm not even going to try and take credit for that
That
one.
was
Well done,
awesome.
sir.
Yes, thank you.
Well, we're so glad to have you back.
I love you guys. I love
How have
being
you
here.
been? How-
I'm amazing. Actually, I will say it. I feel fantastic. You know how you go through years and you're like, no, it was a good year. No, this year was fantastic for me. No place in my year where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. It was just like really forward moving. And I feel grateful. I feel proud. I feel happy. I've accomplished a lot of things that I really wanted to accomplish since I was a child. And that has felt really good.
I love that. So many people told me like 2022 was a bear. It's really nice to hear a super positive story
Yeah.
about 2022. That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like that was honestly what we were having issues with. We were having to search for moments of, I feel good about that. That was great. That was a positive thing. And everyone would have thought that we would have gotten through that, coming out of COVID. But I think it's just this lingering. Everything changed so much.
Yeah,
And
and
so-
I agree with you. I think that a lot of us, 2021 was like grappling to find your footing again. And then 2022 for a lot of people was, okay, testing new waters. Do I want to keep working at home? This seems like a benefit, but am I lonely and depressed? Like there's a lot of things, that people have been figuring out. Plus, I think a lot of people figured out how to make their side hustle their main game.
Indeed.
And so that is a very risky choice if you're not someone who has done that in the past. And so that can have its ups and downs. And a lot of times people can feel that those ups and downs really are like negative, but I think it's good.
Yeah.
Like I would rather have some roller coaster moments because I'll have those highs and the lows will pass versus always being stable and everything exactly the same all the time.
I will say this, though. The one thing, first of all, we can ask everyone around the table. Philip, did you have something really great happen in 2022? Like one thing that stuck out?
Dude, I'm upright and ventilating. Like every day I should be
All right, so
very,
that's-
very proud.
There you go.
That's
All
a
right.
good year.
That's a good year. Okay. All right. My wife took me to Disney World. for 40.
That's
That
right.
was incredible. I
and
mean,
you turned 40.
and I turned 40. And
Yeah.
I like how that was the second part. I was like, I went to Disney.
And I turned 40.
And I turned 40.
Yeah, and his wife didn't even make me pop out of a cake. So that's
There you
actually
go.
really
That's
good.
right.
Yeah.
Y'all
I-
planned that separate from that event, right?
Well, he wouldn't wear the Star Wars outfit. So
the levels of
Yeah.
that statement.
It was a placement of the lightsaber that was questionable.
Look. At first you want to say gold bikini, but then you want to pretend like that's not the one you were choosing.
I was going to say a Wookiee costume or something, but you know.
Yeah. I'm all worried about playing like Find the Kyber Crystal. It's just
The fact that you know what that means makes
That's
me
what
so
makes you
happy.
like him even more. I
Happy.
know.
Brian. Nobody can sit next to you for 6 seasons and not know what that means.
That's true. That's true for all of you guys out there. You guys know. Okay,
Indeed.
but our neighbor over here. All right. What about you? There has been some big things that have been going on, and I know for those that follow Christina on social media, you guys already know this. But for those of you that are new,
Yes.
and haven't heard Christina, she has a lot going on and some big news. So we're gonna let you
do.
share that.
Oh, okay. Well, this year I got cast in the Broadway National Tour of Chicago as Matron Mama Morton.
Ah,
amazing.
yes.
So
Woo-hoo.
amazing.
I know. I think we can do better than that.
There you go.
There we go. We can do better than that.
Yes.
A sound I know you are used to hearing at this point.
Ah, look at you. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
Honestly,
but-
you've been on a rocket ship. I mean, we've been following you as much as we can on social media, and we're so proud of you as a friend. You know, it's incredible how much you've done in 1 year.
Well, I think the thing is that, once you have the taste of having something you've dreamt of come true, it's real hard to convince yourself that you can't make other things come true too.
Yeah.
Super hard. Like whenever COVID hit, so for those who maybe don't or know my background, we'll just give a quick run through. So I'm from Houston. I'm a Houstonian. I'm a registered nurse, single mom, 2 boys, raised my boys for years. They're 24 and 21 now. I know. I'm a grandmother. I have 2 grandchildren. Yeah, that's my life.
And if you guys do want to hear a deep into
yeah.
that, go back into our season 2.
Yeah, there's a
to
whole
check out
background.
Christina's episode, and also there was a bonus episode
Oh,
next
yeah.
door with Christina Wells, which was really beautiful. We heard a lot of wonderful things, and we dove really deep into that. So
My life.
go check that out.
Indeed, if you're on YouTube, you can clickety right there. But
Yeah.
otherwise, you can go ahead and just find it on anywhere you can get your podcast. So
Yes, there's a lot of great. We talked about a lot of stuff in my life. I appreciate that. I appreciate you letting me share my story.
we love your story.
Yeah, your
thank
story
you.
is fantastic.
Thank you. And so
And now we got a new chapter.
exactly. That's exactly it. So I end up singing locally, and I end up making my way on America's Got Talent. And then, okay, God's like, here we go. I'm very spiritual, and so I'm like, He opened the doors, and it's 2019, and I have a whole year of events, and I quit working as a nurse. I actually go to sing, and I'm gonna live this life. I have done the thing I said I wanted to do, which I used to write on the top of everything's to do list. I would write, I will make money as a singer every single day
I love that.
until I did it. And so, yeah, I made it happen. Well, then COVID.
I know it's like God opens the gates and then pulls that carpet right.
Yes. And at
Just like,
first, exactly. First, you can't victimize yourself because you can't be like, why did this happen to me and everyone in the whole world? Hold on, wait a second. How could I be going through this along with every other person on the planet? Never
And
mind.
That's how we do need to refer to COVID when we talk history. COVID.
Yeah, exactly. I always like to say it and then pause because I don't want to. We don't need to explain. We know. Everybody knows. And so I went back to nursing because and that's what I needed to do. It was really hard, super hard. And so whenever 2021 hit and people started reaching out to me and the world kind of started to scratch its eyes open and look around and say, okay, we can try this, we could try that. And I started to sing, and 2021 was good. It was really good. And I got to do shows, and then I was like, I just feel like I'm supposed to do more of this performing thing like this. Why would God have led me to it if He wasn't going to bring me through it? Like, why would He guide me here if He wasn't going to provide for me forward? And so that's just what I say to myself. And I was actually Ursula in The Little Mermaid
which we had a chance to see, by the way.
You
It was
did?
spectacular.
Yeah, we saw it as well. I'm not gonna lie, that was a very big when they had you on the projection screen with the eyes behind,
eyeballs?
the eyes ball behind. I grabbed the seat. I go, whoa.
I know.
I told Missy, I go, whoa, that's a lot of Christina right
my-
away that I
my-
was not expecting.
My sons were like, we've seen those looks before.
I have to admit, Great show. There was some questionable staging. There's no question about it. But it was a great show. And actually, my daughter Chloe got to see it. And she was
I
just
can't imagine. Yeah,
beside
her
herself.
feelings. Yes.
Oh.
Plus, she knows me, so then to see me on
she told
stage,
everybody.
she's like, "That's my friend."
Everybody.
And I love that.
Yeah.
That's what I love. And so, Gainesville Ursula was great, and it was the culmination of. I literally had being Ursula on a big. I have a lot of goal lists, but I have my master goal list of like I will do these things, and she was like up there in the top 5. Like
Such a
she was
cool
a big
role.
deal. So when I got it, I was like, okay. So then I felt super satisfied. See, that's what gets you. You feel satisfied. You've accomplished the thing. Then it got canceled because of COVID.
The plague.
Exactly. Literally.
For the plague? That's what we have for the plague?
I wasn't prepared for
I
plague.
I like
Everyone's
it.
suffering.
Brian, commit.
Womp, womp.
Everyone's sick. Look.
I'm
boy.
sorry. Should I have done the
Maybe as we come,
magical plague?
maybe as we come out of it,
Yeah, as we
right?
come up out of the story.
All right,
it'll
there
be
we
good.
go.
Yeah, we'll hold that one for a second. Yes. But yeah, so it got canceled after 11 performances. And I won't lie, like I hit the ground with that one. I was so devastated and my heart was broken and I didn't understand. You know, that's the hard part. Not that you have to know why every bad thing happens, but there's some part of you that's like, well, you know, blah, 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 blah. Learn a lesson, live life,
Right.
whatever. And
I
just
made it. No, you didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I just was sitting in my house by myself. You know, my kids they're grown. And this is the whole point, was that I would have something for me to have in my life once my children were gone. And my sea witch, they stole my sea witch. And I had a really hard time. I won't lie. It took me a couple weeks to get myself back together. It was like somebody died. And I was like, okay, let's assess. What is the problem here? And the problem is that every time I get a show, it has to end. It has to end because the show is done. It has to end because it's only 2 weeks. It has to end because of whatever reason. And I don't want the shows to end. I want them to keep going. And so I was like, I'm going to go on a tour. So I reached out to my agent and I'm like, I want to be on Broadway ultimately. And she's like, well, then that means you're going to have to do XYZ. And I'm like, okay, so a tour? She said, yes. And so I'm like, well, these are the tour roles I want. And I listed them. Here are my top 5 roles that I want, right? I want to be Motormouth Maybelle and Hairspray. And I want to be Ursula, but that's not happening. But that's okay. And I just had this like list of shows that were like really warm and meaningful. And so I could like bring my Christina Fairiness to the land of
There's that. See, there's that sound. to be
Yeah,
appropriate
there's
right
the
now.
magical
Oh,
sound.
sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so my
Oh,
agent,
Christina was here.
Exactly. Sprinkles, fairy dust, fairy dust.
Flitter,
Thank you.
flitter.
Thank you. It's like in the birdcage, Madonna. You know that?
100%.
I love that you
Pinky
got
down.
that. He's chewing his gum.
Oh goodness, we could do this all night.
I know, right?
I never wear shoes because they make me fall down. You know?
Get the
Yes.
juice.
I love that movie. Okay, I'm sorry. I digress. But yeah, so I started auditioning, and my agent, I have a great agent out in Los Angeles, Firestarter Entertainment, Nicole, and she's fantastic. And
I was going to ask if we can give a shout out.
Yeah, please. Yeah, she's amazing. She was worked for me for a number of years, and every time she sent me something, I'm like, no. She's like, you should do this. I'm like, no. And so
Work.
I know.
No.
I'm horrible because I'm like, what am I going to, they want me to, I'm bad for that. I think the truth is I was just afraid.
Yeah.
And so.
But you were like, darling, think bigger.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I need to, no, it's just, I was just afraid. It's just the simple truth. I was afraid, and I only know certain shows. And so I want to do shows I know, because if I do something I don't know, then maybe I won't be as good. And that's just the truth. Behind our fears are, our insecurities.
Yeah.
And so she's like, well, you need to start auditioning for things that you don't have on this list, because if you want people to know who you are, they need to see you, and they're only going to see you if you're auditioning for stuff. And I said, okay. And I set up we've all done it. Audition, set up the screen, stand in front of it, make the faces. And at first you feel so stupid because you're like, hi, I'm Christina Wells. I live in Houston, Texas. I'm 5'8" and my pronouns are she, her.
Yeah, and then you do the profile turn. And then you
Yes.
do, yeah. Actually, I watched your audition because you have it on YouTube.
I do have it on YouTube, because you want to know why I have it on YouTube? I have it on YouTube before I got cast because I thought it was funny. I didn't post it
Ah.
afterwards like, look at what got me hired.
Y'all, this is how you do
This
it.
is how you do it. It is not how you do it because the story is hilarious. Like, so December, January, we come out of Ursula. It's 2022 now. And my kids and I'm by myself. I'm living in my apartment. And it's the first time I've lived alone since my whole life.
Wow.
I've never lived alone. I realized that one day going through the math of life. I graduated from high school, went to college, had a roommate, always had college roommates, came home from college.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
Had kids, got married, always had a kid, a spouse, or somebody.
Yeah.
And now I'm single and my children are living on their own. And so that was a huge deal. And then I'm doing all these auditions and I actually got a call back for Motormouth Maybelle, the national tour of Hairspray. And I go to New York. I did the callback on Zoom, went to New York, did the audition at Pearl. And I've never done that before.
Ooh.
Yeah, super excited. Down to the last 2 people to be Motormouth
wow.
Maybelle. Yeah, super excited. I think that as a skill set, singing comes to me like breathing, and I've learned how to hone it and grow it. Acting, not as much. I've had to work harder for that part. I always joke and say I'm a singer who's forced to talk. And so, talk and walk around. When do I sing again? That's how my brain works. And so I've had to really grow that. So it was really nerve-wracking. I'll sing the paint off the walls, but then you give me a piece of paper and I'm like, okay, hold on. Right. Goals, intentions. Yeah.
Blocking. The only thing blocking here is a mental block. What are you talking about?
Motivation.
I like to stand in one place. And sing real loud. And I don't know when this talking stuff's supposed to happen. But
Yeah.
so
What's my character's motivation? Well, I like applause.
Exactly.
Do you have a character you go into when you're just trying to do that? Like we said, because you know what I mean? Or is there a way you just revert to? Is talking, acting, your voice changing?
I have a character box. Yes, I 100%. I always joke and say that every time you cast me, you're getting the same thing. It's kind of like, certain actors where you're like, you're always Rachel from Friends.
I understand
we
that
love
reference.
her. We love her, but that's who she is. So
Brad Pitt, we need you to be you.
Brad Pitt.
yeah.
Yeah. Can we just dress you different? Thanks. And so that's kind of, I think, probably what I do. And so anyways, I do the audition and afterwards it was really great. It was a great experience. And they came out and they were like, thank you. We'll call you. And they chose the other woman, which I'm so happy for her. I literally went and followed her and was like, she sang so well. I won't lie. I sat outside the room and was like, dang. So she gets the part. And of course I come home. I was upset for a little bit, but I wasn't. I was like, this is a sign that I'm in the right direction.
Oh yeah,
this
you were
means
being
that I am
put up next to somebody of that caliber.
Exactly.
That's great.
So that means that I've got my toes pointed in the right direction. So more voice lessons. Let me start working on this acting stuff. I got out more script things and let me do more auditions. Everything my agent sent. She literally talked to me on the phone after that audition. She said, you have to say yes to everything. And I did. The 1776 with all the female and all, I auditioned for that. I've auditioned for everything. So I was actually in the callbacks for RESPCT, the musical.
Oh wow!
As the Aretha, which they call it lead singer, and I did the callback for that. I'm like, okay, and she said that I needed to do this audition for Chicago, and I had auditioned for Chicago 2 years ago before COVID, and at that video also, I just don't know what I'm doing, and I'm singing the song, looking around, and so I had been a little sick, and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna get Chicago. That's ridiculous. So the video is me that's what I call my whatever energy. When I feel like it's just not going to happen, but I'm going to force myself to do it anyway, I start to get this whatever energy about me. And it isn't whatever as if I don't care. It's what's going to happen? I'm not going to die, right? They're going to say no, whatever, it's okay. So I start to laugh and I actually start to be a little goofy. So in the video, I slate and then I'm like, let's do it.
I personally when I get to watch other people's videos, I appreciate that kind of stuff because I'm just if I was casting, I'd be like, all right, this is nice. This is nice. It's what I'm hooked. It's what is she gonna do? Is she drunk? I don't know. We're gonna find out.
Exactly.
We're gonna watch it anyway.
My mind went straight to y'all ready for this?
Exactly. That's 100% it. And then usually I do all kinds of things to learn the words and I mount them in places around the computer and the camera. I'm holding the paper in my hand. I look at it and still say the words wrong. And I just sing and I'm shaking everything. And I was like, what's going to happen? Like, I'm not going to die. And at this point, I had auditioned for a number of things back to back. And so, not that I had like a negative attitude. I was just like, lo que sea is a word in Spanish for it. Like, whatever. Like, what's going to happen? Like, risk. Just do it. They're going to look at the video and hit next. Okay.
Right.
And so, plus, I know if I don't have that energy, I'm going to watch the video and be like, you suck. You're not talented. You can't really act. That's why you didn't get this other opportunity. And you're just a singer who's going to sit here and not do anything on a bigger scale. And you need to accept that. Like, you start to walk yourself backwards off the ledge. And I won't let myself do that. So I did one take. I did not watch it. And I sent it. Because what's going to happen?
Wow.
Well, and I think when you say it, it sounds courageous, but it's not. It's not courage.
I was like, it's ballsy.
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what like.
Okay, so yeah, we know the spoiler here is that you get the call
I do
back,
get
right?
it, yeah.
Now how does that work in the digital world?
So the
Do you
way-
have like a follow-up email,
So
your agent calls
Your
you?
agent. So, well, actually, first, whenever I upload the video, she uploads it to the place.
I see. Okay. So you upload.
She does the next step, and she's she's in Los Angeles, so she's behind us in time. I'm in the future. That's how I tell myself. And so,
Oh Lord, I can't forget that. I can't unhear that now. Now I have a new fun way of looking at time zones.
You know, I have in-laws in the eastern part of Russia,
for
right?
Any of our
They're in the future.
What's it like out
Any
there?
of our
Exactly.
future neighbors that are not local to Houston
don't
or
tell
somebody.
us. Don't tell us what'll happen.
Don't tell me what's going to happen, but
No.
I am going to refer to
future.
either the future or the past.
It is.
Yeah.
We are
They
we are
will-
time traveling.
They
to
will
see
mess
you
up
guys.
the space-time continuum if they tell you what's happening in the future. I fully believe this.
See,
so,
and we just talked about Mr. Fusion at the end of last season.
I know. I'm a living paradox, so it's okay.
So-
there you go.
Okay,
There you
sorry,
go.
I didn't mean to jump.
No.
So-
So yeah, so she's behind us. So I always feel like, okay, I have until 10 o'clock and she's going to do it at 7, this whole thing in my head. So I upload it to her and I'm just like, okay, whatever happens, happens. So she sends it on to the next step. And the next week I am waiting for her to come to me because I have other things I've auditioned for that I am really super invested in that I felt really good about, like that Aretha audition, because I sang You're All I Need to Get By and I sang it, like she was singing in her bedroom. So this is where my coins are in my brain, like my penny, like all my marbles are on that part of the Ouija board. And so whenever she contacted me, she's like, they want you to do a callback, but they're doing their callbacks in New York and they're doing a whole week of them and blah, 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 blah. And so when I looked up the ticket, let's go back to the Hairspray audition. When I looked up the ticket to New York City, round trip, it was $124.
Oh wow.
I know. It was crazy. There was one ticket like this. I bought it and I couldn't believe it. And I flew in the morning, got there at noon. My audition was at 1:30 and I flew out at 5 and I came back.
Wow.
That's rare. Rare. I spent more money on the hiring the car service that I had drive me because there was no way I was going to
Right.
Uber, right? And so I go, okay, I said to her, okay, I'll look up the ticket. It's the same thing I said every time. And I looked at the ticket, it was like $800. And I was like, this is a sign that this is not it. And I told her I couldn't do it. And she said, okay. So they had the callbacks and I'm still focused over here on these other things I'm working on, trying to audition for. And after they did the callbacks, she called me and said that they saw everyone and they still wanted me. And now I'm Matron Rama Morton.
Oh,
And
wow.
and I have a small confession for all of our listeners that I have to actually say. I was trying to get Christina to come back on the show before season 6.
Yes.
I actually, and I had reached out to her, and
August.
and I had called her, and she didn't answer the phone. I was like, well, I'm just gonna call her and see
Yeah.
what's going on. So you didn't answer, and then all of a sudden, like 5 minutes later, I get a call back from you.
And what did I tell you I was doing?
You were on stage in Chicago,
In Chicago, Illinois.
Illinois, on the Steppenwolf. Was it Steppenwolf stage?
It was
No.
the Millennium Park,
Millennium Park.
15,000 people.
Yeah,
Broadway in Chicago.
doing a sound check
Yes.
for her song, and she had not told anybody yet
No one.
that she had
booked.
booked the role. I was so excited for you. I was practically in tears. I didn't really know how to I wanted to give you such a big hug, and I'm just sitting on the phone. I'm like, I'm so excited because you hear of friends and people that you know that you just you deserved it so much, and you deserve this role so much, and I was so excited for you, and you told me I couldn't tell anybody.
I'm like, you can't
She's
tell.
like, you can't tell anybody, and I didn't tell anybody.
He may have
He
told
told
me.
Philip. We know the
Yeah,
truth.
he
We
may-
have
he
to
may
tell
have
our
told me.
husband.
I did tell.
I know if I tell one, it's falling right to the other one's ears.
But I told Phil that was like, we can't say anything because you said you were gonna release it on social media.
Yeah, which I videoed.
and you
That's
did
why
a
I told
big-
you. I did. I
yeah.
had videoed it that day, and then I released it a couple weeks later.
Well, in fairness,
guilty pleasure. I got to know before
You did.
a lot of people, and I was just so happy for you. I could not, but that was why we have not been able to get you on the show
Yeah.
until now because you have been so busy with this tour.
yeah, in fairness to the Steel Trap over here,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that he would have kept it a secret, but he had already told me he reached out to you and you
and
hadn't
you had to
gotten
sell
it
it.
back.
Aha.
And I was like, well, why? That she always gets back to us. That's
I want to
weird.
tell you honestly that when I told you, I should have said, I know you're going to tell Philip. Like, I want to just have that. Let's note that. Can we please note that, please? Thank you.
From now on, anything that's said,
I knew that's how it worked.
You can't tell everyone except
Is
him.
it-
Except Philip.
that Phil's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, Philip, I already know. Philip is inside of you, right? He can hear in your other ear, right?
See, no one's gonna ever trust me now if I have an AirPod in or something. they're like, can you take that out? Is Philip listening? It's like,
Oh, but you know, when
Yeah, no.
I felt bad that I didn't get to talk to you, and then I was
we've been
like,
made.
I
Don't
know,
feel
but I don't
bad.
mean I felt bad like horrible. I genuinely like to talk to you when you call me, and I
You were so
appreciate your
excited.
positivity.
It was-
I
I was
was,
so-
and I was so happy to tell you. Let me tell you where I was at. So next to me is the Tina from Tina the Musical. She had just closed the show the night before and flown to Chicago. Behind her is one of the leads from Les Miserables, the tour. They just Major Attaway was there and performing from Aladdin. I was sitting in the same room with these people. The lead from Jagged Little Pill. Like, I literally was like, I'm Christina Wells. And everyone's like, oh, are you from the Broadway show? And I was like, no.
I like how you started that.
No.
I think the best part is from now on, you're gonna start laughing at everything. Like, kind of, yeah, I am. That's me.
No, they were like, we figured you were here from New York. So literally,
I love it.
when those words were said, I was just like, oh, Jesus, you hear this? Like, it was crazy. Well,
Are you listening to this?
are you punched into this conversation right now? No, because seriously, you guys know. Like,
Are you messing with me?
exactly. Are these jokes? No, but it was crazy. And then when they asked me, when they gave me the offer, they're like, hey, we'd like you to do a promotional event for the show in August. I was like, oh yeah, sure. I had no idea. I didn't know about Brian in the Park. I didn't know about any of the things that people do, this Broadway in city name. I didn't understand that. The Broadway across America, I didn't understand it. Like, this is one of those things where you're like, I know I go see shows, but how do they get there and who produces them and what is all this stuff? So I've learned a ton about all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I walked out on that stage, full orchestra, like 18, 20 person orchestra behind me. 15,000 people. What is that? And I'm like, I'm like, hey. I made myself a dress because you know me, I'm like, made myself this black lace dress so it would look Chicago-y. And I got to sing. And then I talked to you on the phone. I was like, Brian.
Well, and we're gonna dive right back into that in just a second.
We just
Stunning.
stunning. Yeah.
Okay, so we have news which you were gracious enough to share with me and the film. But now everyone knows you got the gig.
I do.
You've been touring for a little while.
Yeah.
How has it been on tour for you? I mean, I know we don't want to linger too much because
No,
I want to
no.
dive into a couple other
I
things.
love it.
But
I love it.
But what's been? Is it been in? Are you enjoying touring? Because some people don't really enjoy it.
I
as
know
much.
some people don't. And you know what I said? And when I told my family, they were like, you're going to do what? I was like, listen, I'm going to go. And if I don't like it, now I'll know. I'll know I don't like it. And I'll know whether or not this is going to be helpful to me. Like, yes, it's great for me to go and sing and perform, but is this going to help me share my brand? Is this going to help me expand my reach with social media? Is this going to help me get more opportunities with more singing? Is this going to be something that's going to push Christina Wells as like an entity forward, which is the goal? And I love it.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
I
to
love
know.
it so much. I love it so much.
How does it work from a timing perspective? Like, what is the commitment? Is there a set duration that you
yes,
commit to?
I'm contracted till May of next year.
Okay.
So I contracted through till May. I do have an out, so I can like give my notice. I just have to give like there's time frames based on where we are and what we're doing. But yeah, I'm contracted through to May of next year. And I mean, I love it. Like, can I tell you, standing at the Fox Theater in Atlanta at the edge of the stage and singing When You're Good to Mama by yourself. Because when I sing the song, I'm alone.
That's really what's cool about the role that you got, because that's her song.
It's
just her song.
It's the introduction, because just to kind of put it in perspective.
I would kill to play Amos on a
Oh,
large,
you would
on
be
a
a
large
great
star.
Amos.
I've done the show once with my wife here at a production in Houston, and I got to play Amos, but I would love to do it on a.
Oh
a
yes,
larger,
you would be a delicious Amos.
Cellophane would be a really fun.
And also, there's
number.
something about him that's so like you have a humanness about you that really would come across. I could totally see you doing that.
So, but anyway, but
Oh yeah, so
you're
Cell
doing it.
Block
So
Tango,
Fox, there we
right?
go.
So Cell Block Tango, he had it coming, and they're stomping and they're throwing chairs, right? And it's so dramatic. And then up stands tall Kedem. He's my announcer in the show. He's also the one on my single, and he points, and this giant spotlight swings over as I walk out. And can I tell you, the 15-year-old inside of my heart is like, "That's right."
I love it.
She says, "Give it to me, baby." And then, it's really like this big setup, and it's this a cappella moment where you start the song. And so the audience is like, that lean forward, like, how's this gonna go? And I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, because I mean that's doing a show that is so iconic as far as
Everyone knows
musically.
it.
Everyone knows all the music. I mean, some people it can be kind of nerve wracking. I mean, a little
sure.
bit because if you mess up on any given night,
Yeah.
there's somebody there that
But
knows every single lyric.
Even more if you mess up, because messing up, I don't have a problem with now. I've kind of come to a place where I'm going to do the very best I can as live theater. I'm a human being, but it's not delivering. That's what
Okay.
I think about. If I say a wrong word, no one's going to die. Be the person that comes and says, "Hey, you said this instead of this." I'll be like, "You got it. High five." But if I don't deliver like the mailman, like you need to be like FedEx just came because Christina delivered. Like I want you, when I finish this song, I want you to be like, "Oh my, that is what's nerve-wracking."
I don't care. I don't care what she's saying. I don't care what words are words.
I don't
but
care.
was there.
I want to, because that's the thing. When I'm on stage, when I'm singing, and this for me and everything, but specifically in this show, I want you to feel feelings. I want to give you the business, and then I want to give you the flirt, and then I want to give you the business. I want to give you the flirt, and I want to get it to be bigger and bigger, and then I want to make it small. I want to make it tiny. I want you to lean forward in your seat, and I want you to not know what I'm going to do next. And then I get you. And afterwards,
She got me from the eye contact.
I know, right?
That was intense. I had to readjust my seat a little bit over here.
And then you got squished.
Yeah.
So that was
Well, I mean I'm small, so that's okay. But
yeah,
That
that
goes
for
on.
me. That for me. And 4,500 people in the Fox Theater.
that's
4,500
incredible.
people.
It's incredible.
So-
Incredible.
Okay, so answer me some geeky questions first.
Please,
So
I love it.
Does the duration of the run change per city depending on like how big the theater is, how big the
Yeah,
city is?
yeah.
things like
So whenever you do shows on a tour like this, like let's say that people are like, "Oh, we want you at our theater, but we have 2 days for you," versus other places will have 2 weeks for us. And so,
that? Oh, interesting. So that's
because they have to,
negotiated
yeah,
sort
it's
of-
negotiated. Because just like with anything, like, "Oh, we want to have your show here," you got to pay them to come, right? And you got to sell tickets, so you got to know you have enough money to buy as many days as you want. And you have to have enough draw to sell as many days as you want to have them. So both sides. Like, we really want to
It's a
have you
business,
here
yeah.
for 14 days. We can afford 6.
Yeah.
We definitely can sell out 3 of those. So it's kind of that thing.
Okay.
So I know that you're pretty young in the tour at this point if you're going through May, right?
Yes. Like we've
About almost
been-
halfway,
yeah,
right?
we're at the halfway.
Okay,
less
halfway
than
point.
halfway
little
point.
less
Yeah.
okay. So of the tour so far, has there been a particular audience in a particular theater that you just like completely fell in love with that was just so
Well, you know what I will tell you is it's really interesting because some of these cities, like we've performed, and I'm just to toss some out there, like Portland. We were in Burlington, Vermont. We were in Lowell, Massachusetts. We're all the way up in Maine, and then we've been in Waterbury, Connecticut, and then we've been in
I know that theater.
Kansas, Missouri, Georgia, of course, Florida, just all Texas. Like, so we've been everywhere.
You've been at, yeah.
We really have.
I
We've-
expected it to be more of a
No,
set.
not linear. No.
Wow,
Mm-mm,
so you're
no,
jumping-
I,
zig, zig,
I
zig.
imagine it's based on who's paying at the time.
That's right, and also the theater flow. So you see shows when people see shows at Thanksgiving, and people see shows at right. So there's that kind of a rhythm
enough.
that's
Yeah, that makes
happening,
sense.
and so. But what I'll tell you is that you'd think these big cities, like, DC was great. We were at the National Theater for 2 weeks, and it was great, and they loved the show. But it's different when you go and do it for a smaller town that maybe doesn't see shows like this all the time, or maybe hasn't seen this tour before, and their appreciation for it is just very different. And so I love the concept of that circular motion of the 15-year-old me winning the tickets on the radio and driving into the city and getting to see my first musical. I love thinking about that person in the audience watching me. And I love that idea of getting to inspire some young person to think it's possible, or that it's the dream that they could be capable of having. And I love doing that in small towns. Now, I won't lie, when 4,500 people clap for you.
Oh, I'm sure it sounds amazing. I've never experienced that, but I bet I would love to.
That was real nice.
This is why I fell in love with our conversations, Christina, honestly, because it's not just about you being on the show and you supporting us and us always trying to promote you, because we love promoting you.
Thank you.
But I love our conversations because I really, really know, having gotten to know you now, that you can say both those things. You can say that you are desperately hoping to inspire somebody, that they can see it and they can know anything is possible, but also that you just love the accolades too. And they're equally important statements.
Yes, both those things can exist inside of you.
Indeed. And earlier, when you were talking about insecurities leading to fears and being completely willing to share that with us and with any audience for that matter, that's a brave thing, right? Being able to talk about your fears openly and honestly is a very, very brave thing. And it's very inspiring to me. So I appreciate that. I really do. It
I
means a lot.
appreciate
And
you
for our
saying that.
listeners, if you guys want to jump on the Diva Squad,
Yeah.
you can actually get on Christina's Diva Squad and by going to ChristinaWells.com.
Look at
And you can check that out, and you can sign up, and you can be informed on everything that she's doing, as well as press kits, everything. You can find links to her shop, her merchandise.
Indeed.
So that is one way to go.
I think we can make sure to put that in the episode.
Yeah, we'll make sure
description as
that's in the episode description.
Thank you.
But has there been a comment that you've received that stuck out to you more by doing the tour versus doing other shows?
Yes. Someone told me that it was nice to see a plus size body on the stage in the show of Chicago. And it really made me realize, I went back and I looked up years worth of people who've played Mama and other characters. And I think there's a place where Amos is almost supposed to be fluffy. Like that's part of his character, kind of like da-dun, right? Against, Fred Casely's sleek physique type of a thing. If you know the show, you know what I'm talking about. But people are rarely ever fat in the show on Broadway or the tour. If you look back through the history, even when Mama Mortons have been different ages and different shapes, they're not fat. And I am. And I feel at times it was struggle to feel sexy on stage with all of these literally perfect bodies. Like, it's not a joke. Like, these people are, the ensemble and the leads in this show are so fit that it's sometimes, I won't lie, it's intimidating. And I don't dislike my body. Like, I talk about it a lot because I think it's important to talk about it. I'm visible. And I like to share with people that I'm not always confident, but I do love my body. But yeah, putting on that suit and walking out there, everyone's in their panties.
It is a very skimpy.
Yeah. I mean, that's the show.
That's the show. Yeah, it's a super sexy show. And so a woman, she was like, I love the fact that she opened her coat and showed me her body. She literally was like,
oh, wow.
To see me on stage made me happy. And first of all, it takes courage because maybe if I wasn't where I'm at, maybe I'd be like, what you talking about? I ain't fat. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I appreciated that. And it made me think like, wow, like that's why this is hard sometimes, because it's hard whenever you don't see it and you have to be it, right? Because we need to see ourselves in order to feel like we're capable. And so maybe that's the reason why I wasn't able to relate to being Mama before I was Mama, because Mama, like Jennifer Holliday played Mama on Broadway this year in the spring and in the summer. But she's thin now. She's very thin. She lost all her weight. She has MS. And so she lost a lot of her weight for her health, like to stay healthy. And I have no anger towards that. She needs to do what she needs to do to take care of herself. But in my head, I'm like, oh, wow, even she had to be thin to be Mama Morton. Like, it's a thing. And so I feel really proud because I said something about it, and my director was like, it was one of the kindest things, my music director, he goes, we saw your video and that voice. We had to have that voice. So that makes me happy because, we want our talents to be seen beyond our shell. We want our talents to be accepted beyond how we look. I think everybody wants that. We all want to be accepted for our gifts and abilities past any hurdles that society may perceive. So I'm grateful that they saw past that and they gave me the opportunity to prove that my bigger body can deliver in the same way that a smaller one can.
Well, for our listeners out there, if you haven't heard Christina's voice, it's incredible because you don't have to make it to Chicago to hear her voice. You can get her single of
When You're Good
to Mama that's come out. You can also get her other albums that are on her website by going to ChristinaWills.com. And if you do want to see her rock the role of Mama Morton in Houston, for all the local listeners, you can go January 31st through February 12th at the Hobby Center for Performing Arts. So you can go and get your tickets now.
Yes.
You can go, and if you don't know where to get tickets, go to ChristinaWells.com, and you can go and find that link and get your tickets.
I have all the tickets
so
linked
she's
there.
got all up there. You can, and
we'll have that link below as well.
We'll have that as well, so you can check that out. If you are somewhere listening, not in Texas, just check.
Yeah, go to the same place.
Go to the website.
All
check
the
out.
cities are there.
It's all
for
listed.
You.
There's South Carolina, Tennessee, Indiana,
Detroit,
Wisconsin.
Yeah,
they're all there. She's coming to you guys.
I'm coming to you, baby.
She's coming to you guys.
Find me.
So speaking of Mama figure, so
yes.
you love touring.
I do.
And I know you do. Do your kids get to come see you or get to visit you, or do you get any time with them?
Ethan. Well, the thing you have to remember is these are grown men now, and I think everyone has them kind of crystallized as America's Got Talent children that they were at the time, like these young teenage boys.
Well, yes, but I mean, my mother still. I'm 40. My mother still wants to see me.
Of course, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
I imagine you still want to see your boys.
Of course. Ethan and his wife and my grandbabies came and saw me in Austin. They didn't get to come see the show because babysitters and stuff, but they did come and see me, which was awesome. We got to spend time. We hung out. We went and ate dinner. We did all the fun stuff. And then since I've been home, I got to come home for the holidays. Home for the holidays. And I got to hang out with everybody. And so, yeah. But the thing is that, and I say this to them, I'm like, you're doing your life, and that's great. And let's say I was here in Houston every day, and I saw them on Fridays or, Sunday dinner twice a month. Like, what about the other 28 days?
Right.
What about those? What's a girl gonna do all those other days? So she's on tour and she FaceTimes, and whenever I get breaks, I come home and I see my babies.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. How often are you able to get breaks? And do they give you a set?
You do. It's a very set schedule.
Is that a union thing, or is it just
no? We're not an equity tour.
Okay,
but they do in the contract. We laid it all out, and so I will be back in April. I'm doing an event, the Gail Wells Foundation. I'm their brand ambassador, and they're doing a gala, so I'll be back for that. But then I won't be back until May. So but if you look at it this time, I'll leave in January. We're going to Colorado. Then we're gonna be in Chicago, Illinois for 2 weeks. I'm going to see you there in Chicago. And then we'll be back in Houston. Okay, back in a month. I'll be back here for 2 whole weeks. I get to see my family. Everyone's going to get to see the show finally. That's going to be supreme. Then I'll leave, and I'll be gone for 2 months, and I'll be back in April for that whole weekend event. And then I'll leave again, and I'll be back in June. So see?
It's not bad.
There you go. That's good. So that's, I mean, I guess the way you put it makes it, you have enough time. I guess now I'm thinking, how often do I actually call my mother now?
See? That's what everyone tells me, because everyone's like, what about when you can see your kids? Whenever I come home, they're like, I'm sure they're going to want to see you every day. I love my children. Of course they want to see me, but not every day. They got lives. My son, they have jobs. My oldest son's in school. He's married. He's got 2 kids. My youngest son has a very serious relationship. They have their lives. And I want them to have their lives. And I want them to call me when they need to, and they can. That phone works on tour just the same way it does when I'm down in my apartment in Houston. So
they don't call it at odd times where
yes, of course they do.
Cast parties happening and
my son tried to FaceTime me. I was like, I texted him. I'm like, it's 9:00. He's like, what are you doing? I said, a show. He was like, oh
Who's
yeah,
that
oh
in the
yeah, oh
who's that in
yeah.
the background
What do you
taking
think
off
I'm doing?
clothes?
What do you think I'm doing? So I'm curious. Has anybody from the past, like from America's Got Talent or anything like that, reached out and follow up to you getting the gig in Chicago? Or
You know
has it
what?
been-
It's so funny you say that. So the talent scout that found me way back in 2017 came and saw the show in Atlanta.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yay.
Yes, his name's Richard Velasquez. It's amazing. He came and saw me.
I love
he
that.
messaged me. He was like, I saw you're going to be doing this show. And it lines up with him he's doing a new TV show. He's helping do another television show now. He's like, I'd love to come and see you. And you know what he said after the show?
Hey, Richard.
Look.
Neighbors.
Yeah, if you need two guys to come talk about Star Wars, not just kidding.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You
We
go
can
ahead
make
and
we can make it awkward, Richard.
yeah. Reach out to Christina and she can give you our details.
Yeah,
in a DM.
all the details are available. But yeah, like he came and saw me, and afterwards, you know what he said to me? He's like, I love seeing someone who like took the ball and kept it rolling. He's like, I've watched you kept pushing it, because a lot of people think when you do a reality television show that instantly
That's all you need.
Yeah, like it's like a switch is flipped, but it's not true. The thing, if I could tell anyone, once your dreams come true, the work quadruples. Like, you know, I'm so glad everyone saw me on TV. That is 100% what I wanted. And now people see me and they go, you're that singer. Okay, 50% of the work is done, right? Now the other 50%, which is like, what do you sing? Where can I see you sing? What do you do? How do you perform? How do you stay performing? How do you stay working? So,
And I still see you doing national anthems and things,
Oh,
which I
I
know
will
that
sing the national
and I know we
anthem.
talked about that. That was kind of how you just wanted to do that. So I love that. Did you do any World Series national anthem?
No, but that was okay. So whenever the World Series was happening and there was some interesting moments that occurred, so many people reached out to me like, "Why are you not singing the national anthem?" And I'm like, "I'm on tour." I
you know
will
they're going to
always
be
sing
back.
the
They're
anthem.
going to be back in the World Series. So I
Oh, for
think
sure.
I'm pretty sure that you'll have another opportunity.
I'm
for
gonna,
that.
yeah,
So
fingers crossed.
And I have to admit, I had people from all over Houston.
please
reach
let
out
me be
the
your
last time-
entourage when you do that. By the way.
yeah,
Please, my wife will be your makeup artist, and
I
I will
love
do
it.
whatever you need. I don't care if it's literally rolling a carpet out or throwing rose petals that you need to
Rose
walk on
petals.
across.
I love it. People get so excited. I love singing the anthem. Love singing the national anthem.
I mean, the way he describes it, I'm picturing like the scene in Aladdin with Prince Ali. You know,
Oh,
and
yes,
there's,
yes,
like,
yes.
It's like
All
this
the
huge-
different
I kind of went
things.
straight to Coming to America
There you
with
go.
the Rose Bears.
They're talking about the bath scene. I know it.
No, but I am now.
For all those listening, check it out.
I love all the references.
So because we don't have you for all night, but we do want to jump into a couple things. So, is there anything that you can tell us about? Because you're doing all this stuff, and you've talked about how before we got on camera, I know you were talking about things that you do on the road and still working on your design
Yes.
business.
Yes.
And you're keeping that going.
Yes.
But tell our listeners a little bit about that, because to make sure that
They-
those that do follow you and want your designs
to
and
know.
to know what's
know the
going on.
seeds.
Yeah.
So basically, I talk about my weight because my weight has been a big hurdle when it comes to like wanting to wear beautiful clothing. So I'm going to sing or I'm going to do TV or I'm going to be interviewed for whatever. And I'm like, what am I going to wear? So years ago, before I was singing, about 10, actually it'll be 10 years this year, 2023. I was asked to be bridesmaid and I couldn't afford a dress. And I looked and looked and the dresses that fit me were no. So I made my own dress and I started sewing, and it started me on this sewing journey that has turned into a whole thing where now I have a company called Christina Wells Designs, and I do custom clothing creations for people. I make wedding gowns and custom suits, and I make all of my performance clothing. So if you've ever seen me in a show or if you ever looked on my social media, every outfit I have on pretty much I made and designed. And so when I started tour, a lot of people see and imagine tour as like a nonstop, no rest, no breaks, but there's a lot of downtime when you're traveling. There's a lot of downtime when you're waiting for the show at night. And so I brought my sewing machine on tour. Her name's Huskarina, and she's my carry-on. It's my purse and her. And we're always together. And so I make all these clothes, and it's like my side hustle. I actually told the cast and crew and the orchestra, I was like, I'll do alterations for $25. And I did so much work.
I love that.
Did you really?
That is awesome.
That's awesome.
That is so cool.
That's awesome.
Well, you know.
My next question was going to be, how do they react to that? To seeing
know
you
what?
like lugging around the sewing machine.
Well, see, that's the thing. At first, people don't understand what the sewing machine, you're like, what is that? They don't really know. Or they'll see it and they'll be like, you're going to sew that much. But then what happens is they're like, oh, I really like this outfit. I'm like, oh, I made it. And they're like, you made it? I'm like, yeah, I made it. Or we'll have been on tour for a few weeks and then I'll have a new outfit. And they're like, when did you get this? I'm like, oh, no, I made it. They're like, when? I'm like, this morning.
Did we get paid this week? Did you go shopping? Did you have time off?
Right. And so I like, and then everybody knows when we go on the bus, like we have these breaks where we get lunch, and every time there's a Joann's, everyone's like, Christina, there's a Joann's, there's a Joann's.
That was my next question. If you're sourcing local,
Every city. I've made friends at every Joann's across the United States. I'm not joking. Hey, Skylar, what's up? How you doing? Like literally
Fantastic.
Fayetteville, Arkansas. Like I made friends at every single Joann's, and they knew my projects and helped me find fabric and all kinds of stuff. And everyone on the bus, like when I get back on the bus, they're like, show us the fabric. So I show them the fabric. Then in the next week or two, I start popping up in the clothes, and they're like, that's that fabric. I'm like, yes, I made this.
So Christina Wells' design is still rolling strong.
yeah, and
still rolling strong.
One of the things I like the most about this is I think that when you're a performer, so many people kind of just suddenly you stop being you and you're just that performer,
Yeah.
right? You're just that role. And the fact that you are such a creative person and you have the other creative outlet and you're constantly working, people get to see
Yeah.
a more dynamic you, and that's really cool.
Well, it's funny because I think what you're talking about, like this concept of like this so singular focus that people get, and I don't know, life hasn't always been easy, right? And there's no violins in my story. Life hasn't always been easy. Single mom, worked a lot of jobs. I worked really hard jobs working in the hospital, RN for 18 years, almost 19, and just things have not always been easy. So now I really feel like I live this soft life where people drive me to the venue and I crochet my little hats and I sew my dresses and I get to go to all these cool fabric stores and make friends. And then at night I go and I get to see my crew and all my people that I love, like Dub and Starrett. I see you, my babies, I miss you. And then I get to sing for thousands of people. And then I go back to my hotel room and I get to sit and stew in that concept that all these people liked how I sang. And then it's not just because they like me, but because they actually think I'm talented. And it's reinforcing and kind of letting me know that I have a skill set. It's not just because Houston loves me. You know what I mean? You start to tell yourself that. Like, oh, they love you. They know you. So they're going to clap. But these people don't know me. So it feels good. And then the next morning I get up and Mike, our bus driver, what up, Mike? I miss you. And he's there helping me with my suitcases. And I sit back in the front seat with my crazy colored, Ted hose on, my compression stockings. And I don't know. I wear fun
Christmas,
clothes.
I like
and-
quilts
Yeah.
and beanies
So cool.
if you
I
got
think
time.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I think it's because we think things are hard, but you have to remember it's relative.
Mm.
What is hard? Because for me, hard is not living my dream every day. That's not hard.
That's beautiful. I love that. I one more question before we move on. I'm dying to know now that you talk about being back in your hotel room and working on your stuff. So whether it be the first couple of nights, first couple of performances, or months later,
Neighbors don't knock quilt.
you had to do it. You had to break it.
That
I
was
love it.
awesome.
It's not
That
a
was
bad
both
idea.
creepy and awesome at the same time.
a bad
It
idea.
would be a great sound item up on the wall. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I can see squares out of that logo.
I'll have to admit though, I'll be a little disappointed if we get like a coaster.
No,
Like, it
no,
needs to be-
no.
So
Go big or go
here you
home,
go, guys.
baby.
Yeah.
This is a
Been a
Texas girl.
busy
It's go
season.
big or go home.
So I'm dying to know, has there been a time or like an evening when you're done with the performances, everyone's off to the hotel, and you're just like so stir crazy, you go knocking on cast members' doors like,
So I have
what you doing?
exactly. I have my show buddy. We have to have bus buddies. And so my tour best friend is Logan Floyd. They play Velma Kelly in the show, and so Velma and Mama have a lot of scenes together. They're a very close relationship, and I don't know if art is imitating life or life is imitating art, but we've become extremely good friends. And so yeah, definitely
Cool.
like, hey, what did you think of this? And what did you think of that? And how was your show tonight? Like, that's my favorite question. How was your show? How'd it go? Because everyone's having a different experience, even though we're all on the stage doing the same thing. And I love that. I love that about live theater because some people
That's always a question. If you've never, and this is for any listeners, anytime you do a show as an actor and you walk backstage, that is a question that everyone asks.
Yeah,
everyone.
how was your show?
Yeah, how's your show? or in the middle of it, how's it going?
Yeah.
You know, like, how do you feel? Like, I don't know why we do that.
Because
It's instinctive just to be like,
it's important.
it's for us to do that. I think it's almost natural for us to automatically ask that. We don't. It's not like we're looking at it like, oh, we should talk to them. They
no,
look,
it's
you
just
know,
instinctive. Like, hey, how's your show going?
Exactly.
And sometimes, like, I'll be having the best show ever, and I feel so great and confident, and then my friends are like, "No."
Tonight, yeah, like oh,
like we were in the
tonight's
same scene together, and I thought we were fantastic, and so did the audience, and they're like, "I sucked and I hated it." I'm like, "It's fair, high five." Like that's just everyone's perspective.
Well, and I will say this to quote a local Houston actor, Kevin Cooney, who came on the show as well. He says that it's not about getting it right; it's about getting it better for the next show.
That's so true. Like I said to our choreographer, I said to him, I go, oh, I'm just trying to do my best. I want to do it perfect every day. And he looked at me and he goes, why? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, perfect is boring. And I was like, fair enough.
Pretty good advice,
Fair
right?
enough.
Theater's a live, living thing.
Literally.
I mean,
Fair enough. I was like, okay, Gary, I see you. And I try to keep that in my head because I have like one time it was in DC. Me and Logan Bellman Kelly, we had been talking about our scene, which happens in the middle of my song. And we were talking about some of the similarities we had figured out that we were doing and never had discussed them, right? Like we do this moment where we laugh and then we turn, and we didn't realize we were both turning and giving like kind of the same energy at the same time. So the next time now we're on stage and we're doing the scene, and I started thinking about that conversation. Because, when you're in a show long enough, you start to think and see and be present, super present. Versus when you first start to do a show, you're like blackout.
Yeah, you're like, I gotta get this.
Nothing.
I gotta get this right.
Yes,
it's like
you're
every
just-
word
that's
must be
it.
perfect.
counting a lot in your
Yeah,
head,
exactly.
right?
People are like, how did it go? I don't
have
know.
to move right
yeah.
there. I
One
don't know
1,000.
what my motivation
Yes.
is, but that X
Two
is where I
1,000.
need
Yes.
to end.
Literally, I'm supposed to stand at the number 4, and I figured out 100 ways to find that number 4. I can see the number 4 right now. So yes, but in this moment, I think, you start to relax a little bit, and I started thinking about us having that conversation, and I started watching us, right, do the scene, which the scene's going great and everything, but then I turned around and I said, if I want my gravy, pepper my ragu, instead of if you want my gravy. And now that I've said a wrong word, now how do I respond? What's going to happen? And I was so proud of myself. Not that I made a mistake, because, we don't want to make mistakes, but I didn't even flinch. I didn't have a change of facial expression. I just kept it going, and I finished the whole song and the scene. And it was perfect. It was fantastic.
See, that's the moment you know that you're an actor as well as a singer.
Exactly. Afterwards, I literally first, of course, I was upset, but I can't cry because mascara. So I was like, made a mistake. Type A personality can't make mistake. Then I was like, wait a second. And Logan was like, well, you were present in the scene. That's what happened. You were present. You were present in the scene. You were paying attention. You were thinking about what we talked about. You were present.
Yeah, you kept it going. It wasn't like
I stopped.
It's like one of those moments when it gets so bad that there's nothing to do but stop. when everyone at that point knows.
Brian is
And they
telling us
start-
about him. Brian, look, there's a segue. We see you standing on stage.
And I'm picturing a younger Brian thinking like,
you're
the
crying.
missiles are coming. I
You're
said
crying.
I missed my mark and my line. The missiles are going to come.
You shrunk and walked on stage.
Uh,
If we could get someone to draw a cartoon of that, please.
the Charlie Brown incident.
But no, what you're saying is true. Like the fact that I kept the cart on the rails, right? And I didn't fall to the side. It really was like a big moment for me because I was like, okay, I'm supposed to be here. Like it's so hard. Imposter syndrome is so real. Imposter syndrome is such an ugly monster. Will tell you you're not qualified. I'm not a professional singer. I don't have any professional singing training. I am not a professional actor. Like I could save your life real good. CPR, save you, teach you. Then acting, I'm like trying to figure it out. And so I was just like, it was like, okay, I'm grateful for the mistake because the mistake taught me that I can still make them and I can still keep the show where it needs to go. And so I was proud of myself for that.
Love it.
Neighbors Don't Knock is produced by C&G Communications. C&G specializes in small batch voiceover and video production for commercial media, podcasting, radio, and more.
Combining years of experience in podcasting, acting, and sales, C&G offers big media products at small business prices.
That's right. To learn more, visit their Facebook page or email them directly at admin@cngcommunications.com.
And now back to the show.
Okay, so you've been, I know your life is, you're doing your dream and you're doing all this, and I think it's amazing. And I know there's more to it, but do you have a go-to getting back home? Is there something that if you get a chance to come back home, you have to do, or you have to, somewhere you got to go eat, or something, just the one of those things that just makes you feel like, while I'm here, or have you been touring so long, it just kind of it's another stop.
So I don't have a place, but I do have a thing. And it's the joke. If you know me, if you follow all my stuff, I have a very strict voice diet, like very strict. I don't eat any dairy at all. I quit eating dairy in June. And I ate my first bit of dairy on December the 6th.
Oh.
And that's why when you were like...
2022 was not only dreams came true, but also dangers were relived.
So when you text me today, you were like, do you want to sing? I was like, oh, I've had a lot of cheese. That's I was like, let me see if she's ready. I don't know, because she's had... I literally can eat cheese. I think I'm allowed to eat cheese until the 4th. And then I will have almost 7 full days of no dairy till I sing my first time in the show again.
I was about to ask about a week.
Okay.
Yeah. Because for me, and I mean, everybody's different, but for me, the combination of anything that produces gastric reflux and anything that produces mucus. So I don't eat spicy foods. I don't drink alcohol. I really don't drink soda. I don't eat any dairy. I don't eat, I said hot, fried. I mean, it's real, like I eat the most boring stuff, but every night, I think we've done like 100 and something shows already. Every night I can sing, like every single night. We did 6 shows in a weekend in Washington, D.C., and I had no problems. 6 shows, no problem.
See, I probably, when I did a very short stint with Beauty and the Beast, but I was doing LeFou, and I kind of had a character voice with it.
An affectation.
Yeah, and so I actually was okay with some of my regular stuff that I normally
Wouldn't be okay with.
Yeah, normally I wouldn't be like, I can't have a lot of dairy. But at the same time, I actually had to take care of myself even more after.
100%.
You know what I mean?
To repair.
To kind of repair. Yeah. So that's interesting that you say that. So that's kind of.
Oh no, I'm fastidious. I drink so much water. Like, you know what I'll do that I think is one of my favorite tricks is that I will order Walmart groceries to be delivered to the hotel like while we're in transit. So a case of water, like
smart.
I have this whole list of stuff. And then when I get there, or like it'll be delivered like within the time that I get there, I drink so much water because it just keeping the vocals clean. And I use my voice in a really big way, especially like with Ursula, the laughing and she's healthy. She'll work for me every day, all day. Like
you do steamers and things like that
yes,
as well?
I steam for like an hour. I do like at least a solid half hour of steam before I do a show. I cool down after a show. I do lip trills and cool downs. I warm up for about 45 to 50 minutes every single time I'm going to sing anything.
Okay, for anybody listening, do you guys hear the work that goes into this? Like even that,
I have a whole system in place. Like when the bus pulls into the parking lot of hotel, immediately when I go inside, I plug in my steamer. I have my distilled water, at least a small bottle in my bag. Then something's going to get delivered. It's going to be some food, some avocado meat combination with a carb. And then I'm going to drink 2 full bottles of water while I do a 22-minute warm up. And then we're going to get on the bus and get to the venue. Then I'm going to plug my steamer in there. So it's a whole thing.
It's important to know that too, because a lot of people still have this image of stage actors as if they're like, from
I'm gonna go party after the show and then I'll get up and do it again.
Yeah.
And actually,
like medieval minstrel times when there's like drunk in a corner somewhere with
Yeah.
some prostitute. It's like, no, it's not, you work your butt off right around the entire thing.
And I say this to people because they'll be like, oh, you want to go do stuff? And I'm like, some people are in the show for different reasons. Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Dancing
Right. Or
character
younger actors
people
their bodies just are a little bit
recover
different.
differently.
Yes.
But
So
I am in the show.
that's not a slight at anybody who's
not at
younger.
all.
Just
No.
saying. I wish
is
that
for
time.
me.
Look, be mad at them. Say young people. Look, that was good. I like that. You got to bring your fist down a little and hunch over the shoulders when you do it. But yeah, that was good. But yeah, for me, I tell people, I'm like, I'm in this show. Like when you see Mama Morton walk out, it's because you want to hear her sing. That's the role. Like, yes, I do scene work, and yes, I am in the rest of the show, but when I walk out and it says the mistress of, the keeper of the keys, like people are like, sing. And you don't just sing when you're good to mama. You need to like smash it. And so I'm like, I'm here to sing. So I'm going to make sure that just like they are working out and running and lifting weights and stretching and all that stuff. So I do the same.
It's your tool.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so do you have somewhere that when all this is said and done that you would prefer to go live after now seeing a lot of the country?
You know what? Honestly, that's a good question. Lately, I have been thinking that I understand why people tour for long periods of time. So I know people who've toured for years. And at first I was like, what you doing, Willis? But now I'm like, I can see why you would want to do that. The other thing is that I really want to do work often on Broadway. I'd really like to do some work in the West End. I'd like to be a standby for Matron Mama Morton in the Broadway show of Chicago and like get an opportunity to go and like fill in between, big super megastar people. And so I don't know. I don't see what you're asking me. Is there a place I want to put roots? And I'm saying I don't really want to put roots down.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like
Fair
Houston
enough.
and my grandchildren and my sons and my sister and my mom and my daddy.
Sometimes it's just when people get to see different parts of, it opens their eyes to different things. It's like, oh, I can do this or I can be here. So I'm just curious if that
it's a fair
did
question
that for you.
because I've seen a lot of beautiful places, but I think right now I always wanted everyone to know that I could sing. Like that was always my dream, for people to know that I could sing and for me to go and like make people feel better and bring joy and inspire and uplift, like both. I wanted to have those things to happen. That's been a big thought process of mine for years and years and years. And this is the vehicle. Like this is the vehicle and I'm not ready to get out of it.
Okay, so we know that the drive is there. Is there any room for love?
There is no room for love. I'm going to tell you who I'm going to love. Me. That's who I'm going to love. I'm going to love myself. You know what? I will tell you that I used to be like, my image of my future is me in this relationship and blah, 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 blah. Like, I think a lot of us, we write the story of our lives and there's like an empty space next to us to fill in. Unless like the both of you have beautiful women who are there to walk with you through life. And so once you get that person, you put them in the slot and you're like, and now I have my partner, I'm ready to go. And I've done that. I've been married a couple of times. Judgment. No, thank you. And so, I want to, honestly, it sounds crazy out loud, but I want to think about me. Like, I want to think about what I want to do. You know what? I don't want to do this. And now I know that I don't because I have no one else around me that I need to make sure to please. I've learned that the things I like, in that Runaway Bride, how do you like your eggs? I don't know. Jonathan liked his eggs like this. Michelle liked her eggs like that. Like, that's kind of where I'm at in my life. Like, I've never not lived with other people and prioritized their needs above mine. And as a nurse, right? So my job was taking care of people and my home was taking care of people. And I have no ill against that. I love doing it and it fulfilled me for many years. And now I would like to take care of myself. And so
I like that. That's that new chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I love that.
A lot of people think that they have to, become what they're meant to become as if it's a singular thing. But
or
the
a
reality,
destination.
Indeed, right? The reality of life is that we're many versions of ourselves throughout our journey.
Yes.
And that's how that goes.
I agree with
that
you.
was deep. That was good.
But
You like
you know
that?
what?
That was good. I like that.
I do
one of
Hallmark
my-
cards on the side.
Look,
Do
he's
you?
like,
Do you really?
He does angry.
Is that what's gonna get? Is that what my birthday cards are gonna be? Is it like
Deep-
this is
Like-
like,
I don't want
Yeah.
I don't want the Hallmark card. I want you to say the Hallmark card to
Fair
me.
enough, okay.
That's
do
what
the
I
voice
want.
the voice
got it.
recorded.
Yes,
It'll be
I would buy voice recordings from Philip and give them to people
Should
I
I-
know
should I
and
be-
love.
It'll be a C&G. It'll be
I
a
like it,
C&G
yeah.
produced.
Should we do
the
one of those
segment.
things where like people can like contract me to do little snippet
Hello,
on
yes,
video
it's
and
called
just-
Cameo. I'll tell you how to log in
Cameo.
and sign up for an account. Look
we're
at
gonna
my face.
I'll do Cameo.
We're gonna
Why
have to
not?
talk long after this recording. But I know.
Are you longing for love?
But it's true. People think that it's a destination or like happiness or success. I've now landed. Well, when I've lost 100 pounds, I will be happy. Honey, what you talking about? No, it's like you said, it's the process. And so my friend David, who I love, he's like, you're a serial monogamous, Christina. He goes, so think of this as the break between you and now and your next relationship. He's like, it's coming. Who knows where it is? Who knows when it will hit? He's like, but it will. So until then, let's enjoy the freedom. And it changed my perspective. I don't think of myself as alone. I don't think of myself as single. I think of myself as like, when you break up with someone in the past and you feel relieved and they get their stuff out of your house and you're like, yeah, whatever, Michelle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always say random names, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, why not live in that space a little bit longer?
Yeah.
I
Well,
know, who is
also-
Michelle?
That everyone's right now Googling.
Look, Michelle, does she know a Michelle?
Also, I must say, I do follow your social media, and I don't think you are ever alone. you are definitely surrounded by a big group.
Again, I put it out there to all our listeners, the far and wide. Join the Diva Squad. You will.
I do. Well, I love people and energy. I feed off of human energy, and so yeah, I do have a
Yeah,
lot
your
of
Halloween
people.
one. I was like, what the hell is going on? These performers are crazy.
Wasn't that crazy?
was
They
great.
did. Oh my gosh, my cast is fantastic. We have 22. There's 22 people in the cast, and there's 3 swings, and it's just the talent, and the creativity. Like, they were talking about crafters. Amos, which is Brian Kalinowski, he cross stitches, and then Evie Vaughn, she is lip stitch, lip. But did I say it right?
I don't know.
Lip stitch.
Lip stitch.
Lip shits. That's it.
shits.
Look, lip stitch. Lip shits.
Did you say lip shits?
It's-
That's
a
the murderous
name.
the murderous row.
Pop. Six.
The murderous
Squish.
rows. All the
Uh-uh.
women. That's what they.
Cicero.
It's
Got
the
it.
the
Lip
open.
shits.
They had it. He
Yeah.
had it coming.
Got
And
it.
those
Yeah,
are
okay.
each one of their words for their monologues.
This
No.
is
This
news
is
to
good
me.
that you're asking because you're representing people who don't know. So good job. Look.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
You're in good company.
there is-
I don't know.
But
I'm
it's-
Philip.
You're
Oh.
right, but that's all right.
Why are they
I
putting
agree
shit on
with
their
you
lips?
because
What is going on here?
There's a
Oh.
lot of stuff that people don't know about Broadway, or
Yeah.
like well-known shows, and you would
Yes.
say something, they're like, "Wait, what is that?"
Right.
mean?"
Yeah, yeah.
So Evie,
So-
she plays that character and she knits. And then she wanted to learn to crochet. So I was showing her how to crochet. So like there's all of it. We do crafts and people who do all kinds of stuff, you know? So I love that. I love that part of our
So
cast.
cool. Let
It
me show
is.
you my carry-on.
You know
The
what I
table
got?
breaks.
For Christmas, I got myself a crocheting craft bag. Like it's for crocheting. It's got
Oh, wow.
holes for the yarn and places for your hooks.
Very cool.
I was so excited, but also I felt like such a geek when I got it today in the mail.
See, and I saw a little like Star Wars stormtrooper like crochet like thing, and one of the I was like, I don't know anyone I could. I was like, that's so cool.
There
but
are
I,
so
I know
many
no many
people.
that I can give that to. Now I can send it to
Yes,
Christina.
send it to me.
There you
Send it to me. Yeah.
There's nothing
no.
wrong with gifting yourself as well, Brian. So feel free.
Look,
If
that's
you
right.
feel like you
That's
need
all
that
right.
in your life.
I sometimes you know.
Or sometimes if you hint it, your husband will buy it for you.
There you. Well, he knows my birthday is not for 9 months. So
Yeah. A new listener just tuned in. Like, say what?
What? I didn't know.
wait, what?
Did you know
what show is this?
these neighbors are married?
And for the record, we're not. But to each his own.
To
Whatever
each
you.
his own.
To each his
Yeah.
own. Okay.
No, we are just not to each other.
Not to each other.
Okay, so before, because I know we could keep you here all night, but I do have one question.
I
Okay,
like it.
because you have a new chapter. We've talked about different chapters. We've
Yes.
we've looked back at past chapters, some more recent, and now maybe possibly looking to the future. But if you had to ask someone to write your story
Uh-huh.
that was you considered more or less more like an enemy or somebody that a non-believer.
Oh, okay. Like if I wanted a non-believer.
Yeah,
all right.
to write your story.
Uh-huh.
How do you think they would tell your tale?
Okay, that's good. Actually, that's a super interesting question. I'll tell you what immediately came to my head. My first thing when you said that came to my head was she didn't think she could do it, but she figured out how.
Okay.
Like I think that's my story. Like right now it sounds great because it's filled with wins and I'm grateful for those wins and yay, the last 5 years have rocked. But a whole lot of years didn't rock before that and a whole lot of years didn't have wins in them. And there were a lot of tears and struggles and divorces. Like I can laugh about all of it, but we both know I didn't laugh about it back then, right? And so I think if anyone were to go and be like, let me tell the story of Christina Wells, there's a lot of years that I didn't think I could do it. I felt smart and I felt like a good mom, and that's really all I felt like I was capable of. And now that I've started to allow myself to say that I'm worthy to do anything that my mind can imagine, it's opened millions of doors for me. And I don't mean like financial or success doors. It's opened doors inside of me for me, that I like me. I like the things I make. I like the things I do. I'm happy being me and doing me. And if anyone sees my story, I hope they see that. And I hope they're inspired to do that for themselves.
Okay. All right. I think that's interesting. I think you're doing it right if you're able to look at that like that. You know, it's I think it's very hard for us to be like someone that doesn't know you and it's like you're going to tell my story, you're going to write something about me. And now I have to think about, well, what have I put out there? Because again, they don't know the internal
Right.
struggles, right? They only see everything on the surface.
Right.
So it just kind of looking, I think it's important that we reflect a little bit about what we've put out there sometimes. And you put out so much positive, I totally see that. I don't think anyone can't.
Yeah, I hope so. But sometimes it can be annoying. Like I've had really some insightful people who weren't my biggest fans, which I think is good to have in our lives. And one person told me once, they were like, "You can't be this happy all the time. Like you can't be this joyful all the time." And I was like, "Okay, I'm not." Like, would you like to see the bad days? Would you like me to call you? Would you like me to call you?
Yeah.
And I can share with you.
You want to go dark? Let's go dark.
Let's go there.
Oh my
yeah.
oh my gosh, what a follow-up episode that would be.
Yeah.
If all three of us came on a dark day.
On a sad day.
Like on a sad day. Like
Yeah.
what kind of episode would that be?
Well, because if you have these highs, like the laughter you guys share, like I love to tease you guys, but you have a great relationship filled with tons of laughter, and you're both so insightful and hilarious. That's why I love to come back here, because I love to talk to you,
Thank
not
you.
talk just about myself. I love to talk to you guys, and I like the way that you look at things. And so, I mean, think about the days whenever it isn't that high, right? It's low. And also, where does humor come from? Pain. Where does comedy come from? Trauma. So if you're this funny,
yeah.
Yeah.
The tears are real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a bad experience. Yeah.
Did I say we're going to talk
Yeah.
about I had
Yeah.
a bad
Exactly.
experience?
Yeah. That guy's hilarious. Some shit happened to him.
Yes, like,
It's
there's this hilarious
damn, he's fucked up.
episode of Friends where Phoebe has this psychiatrist boyfriend. I'm a Friends. That's a bad thing.
Oh, I know.
And
You
she's-
share this.
I
yeah.
trust
talk
me.
about it.
I have. It was he was in Short Circuit.
Yeah. The dude.
The
yes.
dude. He had long hair.
Yes.
Roger.
Yes,
was his character's
yes,
name.
Yes, and you know what he says to Chandler? He goes, "Oh, you're funny.
You're funny. It's like,
I can't wait to see when the laughter stops."
Yes.
And I was like, "That's me." I feel attacked.
my favorite thing about that after is so he comments. He's like, "Wait, what?" he's like, single.
Yeah.
Single child.
So yeah, divorced with your parents before
divorced
puberty.
Yeah. he's like,
I love this moment.
he's like, yeah. How'd you know that?
He's like,
Textbook.
Yeah, textbook. That's what he says. But it's true. It's true. Everybody who, whenever you laugh like this. But yeah, so we have our lows. And I would rather it. Like I've really committed to that. Like I would rather have my highs and my lows than always be kind of in an even kill place.
Well, that's why we love having you, because that's kind of the purpose of Neighbors Don't Knock. That's why we expand the neighborhood. We need to laugh.
Yes.
We need to be able to talk about things uncomfortable, happy, sad, whatever it needs to be. It just needs to be said. Sometimes we just need to chat with each other.
Yes.
So, but if you guys are wanting to catch Christina, make sure you go to ChristinaWells.com. You can get all of her information. We have it in the episode description below. Be a fan, follow her. You can check her out on Christina Wells Official for Instagram, as well as at Christina Wells Designs if you're looking to check out what she's doing
What she's
and
making.
what she's making. That's right. And we're going to put all these links down below. So make sure you guys follow her, give her well wishes, because you're going to be seeing her in New York sooner or later. I know it's going to happen. I put it out there. If no
Thank
one else
you.
has, it's out there. So, but thank you so much for coming by.
Christina, thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you.
We
I
love
love
having
it.
you. We are going to get out of here to a little tune that I know you know. So, yeah, I know. And again,
What could it be?
what could it be? I don't know. So if you guys want to like, subscribe, and follow the podcast, you can catch new episodes every Friday. That's right, new episodes.
Indeed. Welcome to season 6.
That's right. And we'll catch you next week. Peace.
Out.